I am Ken DeGraaf. I'm asking for your vote to represent you for House District 22. We learn from history that we do not learn from history. Winston Churchill described an appeaser as one who feeds a crocodile hoping it will eat him last, probably in reference to Neville Chamberlain, who proclaimed, "I have returned from Germany with peace for our time," a year before war broke out. We are told that we must reach across the aisle, but reaching across the aisle is a euphemism for we are negotiating our values and platform into irrelevance. If we don't change course, this euphemism will be our epitaph. Changing course takes intention and effort, because the ship of state is gaining steam. This is not a battle of Republican versus Democrat, left versus right. It is a war between individual liberty and state power. Here, we can learn from history that supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting, and that resistance is broken through incremental and cumulative compromise. You cannot compromise with state power to increase your individual liberty. When asked, "Why are you running?" or "Why the hard stance?" the answer is simple. It is not belligerent to defend yourself. I make no apologies for our founding values that recognize us as created in the image of God, because it is from this that we are entitled to the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is on this basis that our nation has thrived and gone from backwater to global superpower. We are creatures of focus. We go where we look. The truest way to fly a jet is to look to the horizon, fix a point, and keep it focal. Keeping your eyes outside allows you to plan ahead and avoid threats. Fixating on dials does not. It is only by keeping our eyes on our values that we can achieve them. I don't claim it will be easy, but our founders laid out their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor because they preferred dangerous liberty to safe servitude. Reaching across the aisle might be my opponent's strategy, but I don't want to end up across the aisle. My opponent wants to tag me as being the candidate of no, and I'm okay with that. If a bill compromises any life, if it erodes any of your liberty, if it hobbles any of your just pursuits, I am voting no. Hard no. However, you might better call me the candidate of no, K-N-O-W. I know what they are doing, and they are doing it to you, not for you. All of your candidates will spout the party line, but while proclaiming the Second Amendment, do they allow a mental health bill that could declare you incompetent to own a weapon? Do they proclaim liberty while sponsoring a bill that appoints the governor as commander-in-chief for every able-bodied male between 17 and 45 in response to an epidemic, and to impose mandates and appropriate resources, suspend statutes, or impose unspecified duties on citizens, even beyond 365 days? Do we really need licensure by the state, a model used by Nazi Germany to control citizens and weaponized against our own in the pandemic response? May a government, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, impose a mandate violating the consent of the governed? Is the individual sovereign if the state can compel its speech? Is it within the just powers of government to indoctrinate children with perverse ideology? Is the introduction of gray wolves necessary for the immediate preservation of public safety? Is sending $2.5 million of your tax dollars to promote agriculture essential for our health? Or could a $47 billion industry scrounge together 0.005% of its budget to promote itself? Should we be sending $5 million of your hard-earned dollars into the undefined abyss of rural economic development? What if we simply allowed people to keep their own money and solve their own problems? How much of that money is simply recycled back to politicians in donations and endorsements? Would you feel better knowing that your politicians pad their pet programs for the inflation they create to degrade the value of your dollars? And even when they build in exponential growth, they cannot remain within budget, and their solution is to extract even more of your blood, sweat, and tears. Our economic system is quite literally a golden goose, and our politicians are choking the life out of it trying to get one more egg. I cannot know the mind of my opponent, but I entered the race in January to champion our liberty in opposition to the establishment that has become either compliant or complicit. I entered the race to run against the status quo. My opponent entered the race to run against my running against the status quo. Ahead are the rocks of authoritarian doom. Behind is the open expanse of individual liberty. You have a choice to either stay the course or kick in the rudder. I am Ken DeGraaf. I'm asking for your vote to represent you as House District Representative.